War has been a constant feature of human history. Across civilizations and eras, societies have organized violence to achieve political, territorial, and economic objectives. From ancient battles between empires to modern technological sophisticated conflicts, warfare has evolved alongside political systems, industrial capabilities, and technological innovation. Yet beyond the battlefield lies a deeper structure that sustains war, a complex relationship between governments, military institutions, and private industries that produce and supply weapons. While wars are often justified as necessary for national defense or political security, modern warfare is deeply intertwined with economic incentives and institutional structures, particularly the military-industrial complex, through which governments, defense contractors, and financial systems can benefit from continued military spending and global arms transfers. Understanding war therefore requires examining not only its historical evolution and political causes, but also the economic networks that profit from it. War can be defined as organized, large-scale violence between political groups, most commonly states. Historically, wars have been fought for territory, resources, political power, or ideological dominance. Warfare has taken many forms throughout history. Instead of progressing in a straight line toward more advanced forms, warfare has evolved differently across societies depending on geography, political structures, and technology. In ancient civilizations, wars were primarily fought by armies seeking control of land and trade routes. As states grew more centralized, rulers began maintaining permanent standing armies. The development of gunpowder between the 15th and 17th centuries transformed warfare dramatically. Artillery and firearms weakened the medieval fortifications and shifted power towards centralized states capable of financing large armies. Industrialization in the 19th century marked another major turning point. Factories could mass produce weapons, railroads could transport troops quickly, and modern bureaucracies could mobilize entire populations for war. These developments culminated in the global conflicts of the 20th century, particularly World War II, which demonstrated the full capacity of industrialized warfare, involving massive production of tanks, aircraft, ships, and nuclear weapons. Although each war has unique causes, historians generally identify several recurring factors that drive conflict. First, wars often arise from competition for resources or strategic advantage. Nations may seek control over oil reserves, trade routes, or territories that provide economic or military benefits. Second, wars can emerge from security dilemmas. When one state strengthens its military to defend itself, neighboring states may perceive this as a threat and increase their own military power, escalating tensions. Third, wars may result from political ambitions or ideological conflicts. The 20th century witnessed numerous wars shaped by ideological struggles between competing political systems. For example, the Vietnam War was driven not only by local political tensions but also by broader Cold War rivalry between communist and capitalist blocs. Despite recurring hopes that modernization, globalization, or technological progress would eliminate war, history shows that these developments often transform warfare rather than preventing it. I hope we are all on the same page, ladies and gentlemen. If not, please do tell me in the comments. And with that said, why don't you like, comment, subscribe for more thought-provoking content? One of the most important developments in modern warfare is the rise of the military-industrial complex, which is a term used to describe the close relationship between governments, military institutions, and defensive industries. Modern militaries rely on vast networks of private companies to produce weapons, supply logistics, and develop advanced technologies. Defense contractors design aircraft, missiles, cybersecurity systems, and surveillance technologies that are essential to modern military operations. These companies receive enormous government contracts to manufacture military equipment. Such contracts can be worth billions of dollars and often extend over decades. The military-industrial complex becomes influential because defense spending supports jobs, research programs, and regional economies. As a result, political leaders may face pressure to maintain high levels of military expenditure even during periods of relative peace. In this system, warfare becomes intertwined with economic interests, while national security remains the stated objective. Modern wars generate economic opportunities for numerous industries beyond weapons manufacturers. The most direct form of profit comes from arms sales. Countries involved in regional tensions frequently purchase advanced weapon systems for major defense producers because conflicts often last for years. These purchases can lead to continuous demand for new equipment, spare parts, and upgrades. Another major source of profit involves defense contracts. Government outsource logistics, transportations, maintenance, and technology services to private companies during military operations. Private military companies have also become increasingly important in modern conflicts, providing security services, military training, and operational support in conflict zones. In addition, wars often create economic opportunities in energy extraction and reconstructions. After conflicts end, corporations may receive contracts to build infrastructure. Financial institutions also benefit through loans and war-related financing, leaving nations with long-term debts that may take decades to pay. I'm going to expound on that more later in the video. The United States frames arms export as a means of strengthening allies and maintaining global security partnerships. Through programs such as Foreign Military Sales, FMS, the US government manages tens of billions of dollars in annual defense sales to allied countries. And these transactions are regulated through laws such as the Arms Export Control Act and overseen by agencies such as the Defense Security Cooperation Agency. Under these arrangements, countries request military equipment through formal procedures, and sales are reviewed to ensure they align with the national security objectives. From this perspective, arms sales are considered instruments of diplomacy. By providing military equipment, training, and logistical support, states can strengthen alliances and improve military interoperability with partners. So, beyond defense contractors, financial institutions play a crucial role in sustaining modern warfare. Wars require enormous financial resources that governments rarely possess through taxation alone. As a result, states rely heavily on borrowing, and banks become central actors in this process. Modern banking systems have the ability to create money through lending. When banks issue loans to governments or purchase government bonds, they effectively create new money within the financial system. During wartime, this mechanism expands dramatically as governments borrow large sums to finance military operations. Bank profits from this process in several ways. First, they earn interest payments on government debt. Wars often lead to decades of repayment obligations, meaning financial institutions continue receiving returns long after conflicts end. Second, banks act as intermediaries in the sale of war bonds, collecting fees and commissions while also holding these bonds as interest-bearing assets. For example, during the First and Second World War, governments issued massive quantities of war bonds to finance military expenditures. Banks and financial institutions facilitated these transactions and expanded credit to support wartime industries. This created a cycle in which governments borrowed heavily. And so banks financed the debt and industries received the funds to produce weapons and military supplies. In more recent conflicts, such as the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, governments again relied heavily on borrowing to fund military operations. Financial institutions participated by purchasing government bonds, financing defense contractors, and engaging in financial speculation related to commodities such as oil and energy resources that are often affected by geopolitical instability. In addition to direct lending, banks also profit indirectly through financial markets. Wartime conditions frequently cause volatility in commodities, currencies, and stock markets. Financial institutions and hedge funds may trade oil futures, defense company stocks, or currency derivatives in anticipation of price fluctuation caused by geopolitical tensions. I hope we are on the same page, ladies and gentlemen. If you did not understand, please do tell me in the comments below. This financial structure demonstrates that wars are not sustained solely by political decisions or military strategies. They are also supported by a complex financial ecosystem in which governments, banks, investors, and corporations become economically linked to wartime spreading. And so when they say there are some people profiteering from these wars, this is exactly the case. The relationship between war and finance often produces a recurring cycle. Governments borrow large sums to fund military operations, in which we have seen that they do, creating massive national debts. And of course, someone has to pay for that. Banks and investors purchase this debt in the form of government bonds, generating steady interest income. As debt accumulates, governments may issue additional bonds to refinance earlier obligations. This creates a long-term financial dependence on lenders while transferring the cost of war to future taxpayers. And so, ladies and gentlemen, if the prices of some stuff are up, just know that you are paying for a war that happened in the past or that is currently happening. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. Hope you learned something, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.